Hi, today I'll show you how to create a custom project management application. I will not use a template, I will do everything from scratch and I will do it in less than 2 hours without coding, using a no-code platform called DaDaBIK. My name is Eugenio Tacchini, I'm a computer scientist and I teach databases and data science in college. Beyond academia, I'm an entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in developing no-code and low-code platforms. Okay, first we will see the resulting app, then I show you step by step how to build it, so you can follow me in this tutorial. Here is the resulting app. It's a web application we can use to keep track of the projects our company is working on. We have a dashboard where we can see some important key information. We have our projects and for each project we can have several tasks assigned to our employees and potentially some notes. We can do the classic CRUD operations on our data, so create, read, update, delete. We have inline edit features, and we can also import data from Excel and CSV files. It's a multi-user and multi-group application. In this case, we have 3 user groups, and we have admin, we have project managers, and we have employees. The users belonging to these groups have different permissions. It's an app that you can host anywhere in the cloud, using your favorite hosting server or even on your laptop. And again, we will use the no-code platform DaDaBIK to create it. DaDaBIK is a general purpose platform, so this project management app is just one example of what you can create with it. Okay, so with DaDaBIK you can actually build a wide variety of applications to meet different needs, basically. So, well, I think we are ready to start, so join me on this journey. Okay, so instead of downloading and installing DaDaBIK on our computer, that is one way to show you how to build the application. We will build the application directly on DaDaBIK.com. So if you want to follow me, just visit DaDaBIK.com and from the homepage you click on Create an App for Free. Okay, from here we can create an app, no code, and the app will be hosted for 30 days for free. And there's no registration required, no credit card required. You just need an email, a valid email, and the URL of the app you are building will be emailed to you, basically. Okay, so then if you want, and I will tell you how to do it, you can deploy the app elsewhere, wherever you want. Okay, so let's give a name, project management, and I will use my email here. Here we go. So let's wait a few seconds. And okay, so the application has been created. You get probably the email with the URL, and in the meantime you can access the app from here. Run my app. Okay, so this is the login page of your app. There is a default admin user, username root, and password Letizia24, and login. All right. So this is the empty application we have just created. So it's empty. There is just an help page here. We have to build it. How? So the very first thing we have to do is we need to create some tables, basically the data structures that that the system, the application, will use to store, to represent our data. Okay, so I created a document here just to take some notes, and before creating the data, the tables in the application, let's discuss this in more detail, and let's say which are the entities we want to represent in our project management application, which are the concepts we want to represent. Well, and why we are talking about that, why we are discussing that, because each entity, you will see it in a minute, will become a table in our application. So, for example, we want to have information about our customers for sure, right? We want to have information about our project, right? So for each customer, we can represent the name, the address, for example, the city, some contact information, and so on and so forth. For each project, the name of the project, the value of the project, and many other information we will think about. So customer, projects, then I would say tasks. So for example, a project could be the website redesign for a customer, and for redesigning the website, a few tasks are involved. For example, one task could be choosing the right font for the website. Another task could be creating the front end, and so on and so forth. So we have projects, we have tasks, and I would say, at least for the moment, the last entity could be employees, right? So we assume we are a company doing development services for customers, and web design and development services for customers, and we have some employees working on these tasks. Okay, so these are our entities. Now we have to create for each entity a table in our application. So first thing to clarify, this is what the the final users of the application will see. This edit this app is another area of the application that we can only as admin see, and here we can basically develop the application, okay, without any coding. In particular, for creating the data structures, we click on data. So again, I clicked first on edit this app, and I opened this link in a new tab, because it's more convenient to have the final application on one tab and the admin area on the other on another tab. At least for me, is more convenient. And I clicked on data, and here I can create my tables. All right, so for example, customers, I create the table customers, right? Create. Good. So now the table customers will have a few fields, again, to represent information about our customers. The first field is always created automatically by DaDaBIK, and it's called ID, and it's a auto-increment primary key field. What does it mean? It's a field that uniquely represent each row in a table, each record. So in this case, each customer. has a unique value and is auto increment. So every time we create a new customer, automatically a value is assigned to the ID. First time will be 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's add other fields, and I would say name, the customer name. We have for each field we have to choose the field type, and for the customer name, for example, short text is good. We have to choose if the field can be null. I would say no, because it doesn't make sense to create a customer without a name. And these are the two things we need to choose, basically, because these are more related to, again, the primary key that is automatically created by DaDaBIK. So name, and then address, for example, and then city, and then, I don't know, email. Okay, of course you can add more fields, but let's stay with these 5 fields for the moment. So save. Okay, customers done. Then projects. Okay, again, ID project. Let's add some fields, and I would say we can give a name to the project. All right, and then maybe we have a value for the project, and this is gonna be an integer number. Okay, a value in terms of money involved in the project, and then I would say a start date. And that's a date, an end date, again a date, but this time nullable yes, because well, maybe also start date, because maybe we can add a project before it's starting. So yes, start date, end date, the status of the project. So it could be not started, in progress, and completed, something like that. And I would say the payment status. So if the project has been paid or not. All right, these are, I think, the basic fields. We still need for sure an additional field, because there is a relationship between customers and project, right? For each project we have a related customer. And how can we represent this relationship? Adding a field here representing the customer involved in the project. So I call this ID customer. Okay, and it's an integer number because it's going to be the ID of the customer. All right, nullable, no. Okay, okay, that's it. Then we said employees. Very simple. Let's say first name, short text, last name, and email. All right, and save. And finally we have tasks. Okay, well, sometimes I used capital letters, sometimes I didn't. Anyway, tasks. For tasks, ID and name of the task, and then what else? Well, in this case, for tasks, we have 2 relationships, right? Because each task is related to a project, so ID project. Okay, and is assigned to an employee. So ID employee. This could be nullable yes or not, depending on, if you decide that you can add a task before assigning it to an employee, then it could be nullable yes. Otherwise, it will be nullable no. Okay? Whatever you prefer, depending on your context. So name, ID project, ID employee. Then I would say, even in this case, the status, so in progress, completed, and so on and so forth. And then I would say a due date. Maybe we can set a due date. And then I would add 2 fields related to the amount of time spent in this task. So I would say hours planned, integer, number of hours we plan to spend here, and hours real, okay, the actual amount of time. And this one I would say is nullable yes, because you don't know until the end. So save. And by the way, this hours real will allow you to compute the actual amount of hours spent in each project. Automatically we will see how to take all the tasks related to a project and compute the number of hours spent in a specific project. All right, so these are our tables. Let's go back here and let's refresh, and we will see, you should see this menu items related to the tables. So we have customers, we have projects, employees, and tasks. So for each table you have created, you have now all the pages and forms related to the classic CRUD operation: create, read, update, and delete. So let's test our typical workflow. Let's say that we have a new customer with a new project. We want to store the information about the project here, together with a couple of tasks that we assign to our employees. All right, so first let's create a few employees, because the table is there but it's empty, obviously. So create new, first name, and let's say, I don't know, Alice White, Alice at example.com, first one. And then Bob Black, Bob at example.com. Okay, these are the employees. Then let's talk about the customers. Let's say we have a couple of customers. I don't know, Apple. Let's think big. Address infinite loop, and Apple at example.com. And then Google, Mountain View. I don't know the address, street, Google at example.com. All right, so now let's create a project for Apple. Let's say we are the company that will redesign the Apple website. So project, create new, website redesign, value, I don't know, start date today, and the status is in progress. Well, I had a typo here. We will fix this later. Payment status, well, I would say pending payment. Now later we will see how to have a drop-down menu here instead of typing the text. But for the moment, let's keep it simple. And customer, as you can see here, the relationship has been automatically detected by DaDaBIK. So instead of having a normal text box here, we have a so-called lookup field. So we have a drop-down menu, and here we can choose the customers, and the values are coming from our customers table. How basically this could happen? It's based on the field names we used. So since we have a customers table, and in the projects table we used a field, we added a field called ID customer. This together with other heuristics that DaDaBIK uses, made DaDaBIK think that this is better represented using a lookup field. And that's correct, right? So, and this is for Apple. And save. Okay. Then for this project, we add a couple of tasks. Even in this case, the relationship, the two relationships have been detected. So let's say that the first task, well, we can also just add one of them. So front-end development, project website redesign, and we assign this task to Alice. Okay, and the status is in progress. Due date is March the 20th. Hours planned, I don't know, 100. All right, so this is an example of the CRUD capabilities that automatically built in you got just by adding the table to your application. So for each table you can create new records. You have built in some validation. Let me give you an example. So customers, let's change the email of this customer, and let's do something like this. Okay, the system complains because this is not a valid email. And again, how this is possible? Again, DaDaBIK uses some heuristics that allowed the system to understand that this is should probably contain email addresses. And that's why the email validation has been applied to this field. Obviously, if you don't like it, you can change it, and we will see how to do it. All right. Also, the fields we have set as not nullable are required. So if I don't set the city, okay, I get an error. So just to summarize, we have now the possibility to create new, for each entity, new records. To search for records, we have this that is called OmniSearch. So like Google, and I get Google. This will search across all compatible fields here. And we also have an advanced search that allows to, a more precise search for, with a detail for each field and also several search operators. We can update, so edit data. Inline edit is also available, so I can just click here and change street to, and change from here. So Airtable style or Excel style if you want. We can delete records, of course, so create, read, update, delete, CRUD. And these pages are already available, as you can see, and we will see how to edit them if you don't like the way they are. But the fact that they are already available saves you a lot of time. If you have used other no-code platforms before, you probably know that many of them require much more time to set up this starting version of the application. Apart from the CRUD capabilities, you have also some additional features. I'm just going to mention them without going through them. You can generate chart, pivot table, import Excel and CSV file, export, generate PDF. All right, let me take care about security. So admin users, here by default DaDaBIK created 2 users, root, that is an admin user, and Alfonso, that is another user. We will add the users we need later, but for the moment I would delete this user because we don't need him, first thing. And second, very important thing, root your account. I'm going to change the default password. So these 2 things should be done immediately for security reasons, because your application comes with a default password and you want to change it as soon as possible. The same password for the 2 users, so we need to change it as soon as possible. So the current password was Letizia24, and we choose another password. Okay, good. Now let me go through our admin area to see at least some of the things you can do here. First, I give you an overview of the various possibilities you have, and then we'll focus on a few of them. So we know the data tab, where you can create tables and views. We will see later what a view is. Then pages. This is the list of the pages we have in our application. We have pages based on tables, 4 of them, but we also have custom pages. We will see how to build custom pages, and for the moment we have only one custom page. It's home, and it contains this default instructions. Let's say we want to change the name for this page to dashboard, because this is going to become our dashboard. So save, and now it's dashboard. Menu, here we can resort the menu items. So let's say that we don't like customers here, we want to have it here. Okay, we just drag and drop, and let's see. Okay, that's menu. Then we have form configurator, permissions, and layout. That are, especially the first 2, the most important areas of this admin area. So we will spend a lot of time here: form configurator, permissions, and layout. So obviously the layout allows us to change the layout of the application, so the colors, the logo, and many other things. The permissions, as the word says, allows us to change the permissions. So we can say that a particular user cannot see some areas of the application, but we will see that in detail. And form configurator allows us to basically configure a form. So I don't know, for example, if this form is not exactly what we need, maybe we want to change a label, we want to change the way each field type is represented. There are many things we can do. We need to work on the form configurator. All right, so let's see this form configurator. Here we go. So here, for each table and each field, you have a lot of parameters you can set to customize your forms, basically. Okay. For example, let's start with projects here. So the form configurator is divided into two parts. In this first part, you have the settings you can change, and here you have the preview. So let's work, for example, on the name field. So you can choose the name field from here, or you can also click here and get name. All right. So I would say the most important, so the basic parameters you need to know are label, field type, and content type. So the label, as you can imagine, is what then DaDaBIK will write here as a label of the field. So name, example, blah, blah. As you can see, we have a different label now. This is just a preview, so the application is still in the application. The label is still name. You have to save in order to change the application. All right, let's go back to name. So I was saying label, field type. So here you have several field types you can use. So let's at least for the most important ones, let's just say a couple of words for each. So text is obviously a text box, standard text box. Text area is in HTML literally a text area, so a multi-line text box. And then we have rich editor that allows to format in HTML the content. We have some date and date time fields. We have list fields. So, for example, ID customer is a list field. If I click on ID customer, and in particular is a select single. It's a drop-down menu from which you can choose one option. You also have select single radio. In that case, you have radio buttons. You have select multiple menu and checkboxes and checkbox. In those cases, you can choose multiple options at the same time. But let's stay with select single, and we will talk about this later. File fields, you can every time you need to attach a file, a generic file or an image file, you use this kind of fields, and in that case we will see an example later. You will be able to upload files. Camera is useful for when you use your application on a mobile device, because by default your device opens the camera to take a picture to send to the application instead of asking you to upload a file. And then we will see later what ID user is, and we won't use this unique ID field. So at least for this application, forget about it. Okay, this is the field type. Then we have content type. The content type basically affects the validation of the value and the way the value is formatted in the application. So we have numeric, alphabetic, alphanumeric, URL, timestamp, email, HTML, and phone. And well, you know, according to what you choose here, obviously the validation, for example, changes. So if I set a field as content type email, this means that only valid email addresses, or at least email addresses that are considered valid according to the, you know, the syntax checker built in DaDaBIK, will be allowed. Okay, in some cases the content type does not affect your application. Let me give you an example. If you choose date, well, a date will be something like this. So a calendar pickup component, and obviously the content is a date value. Okay, so it doesn't make sense to set the content type. All right, so field type and content type. Now let me discuss more in detail the select the list fields, because they are very important. So for example, status. At the moment, status is just a standard text box, but it would be much better to have a drop-down menu, so select single, and to be able to choose from a list of options. Okay, in particular for status, we said we have 3 options, and we can define the options here. Not started. Not started was the first. In progress, I can just type the option and then press enter. And completed. Okay, so now status is a drop-down menu with the 3 options. Okay, and save. What about payment status? Well, first of all, we need to fix the label, so payment status, and I will also change the label here. Instead of ID customer, I just want to have customer, because, you know, in the database the ID of the customer will be stored, but the user will see the name of the customer, so customer is fine, it's just fine. Payment status, select single again, and in this case we have pending, partial, and paid. Okay, pending, partial, and paid. Okay, let me do the same for task status. So status again is select single, not started, in progress, and completed. Okay, all right, so in this case, let's go back to project. I want to explain one more thing. Let's talk about customer. Customer is also a select single, but as you can see, we don't have the custom list of options here because this is a lookup field. So we have 2 options for list fields. We can set the list of options here, or we can say that we take the options from another table. And this is what DaDaBIK did automatically for the ID customer field in the projects table. But if you need to do it manually, obviously you can do it. You choose select single and then you fill these fields, these parameters instead of this one. So you have to decide which is the lookup table name, so where we get the options, and that's the customers table. Then we have to set here which is the primary key of the customers table, and it was ID. Do you remember that was the field automatically created by DaDaBIK when we created the customers table? And finally we set the linked fields. Let me explain this part. So what we have as a primary key value will be used to save here in the database to represent the customer for a project. Okay, so for example, we create a project, we select Apple, and probably Apple is ID customer number 1, so the value 1 will be saved here in the projects table as ID customer. But we don't care basically, because what we see, or better, what the final user sees is what we set as linked fields. So the link field is the value we want to show here in the drop-down menu to the final user, which is, or at least which can be different respect to this one. Okay, name, and I don't know, we can also add another linked field, name and city. Okay, so Apple Cupertino. All right, so remove, and that's fine. One additional field type I want to show you is a file related field type, and in particular for, I don't know, for each let's say that for each customer we want to have a picture. So customer picture short text and save. Why short text? Because in the database the a file will be stored with its file name. Then the file itself will be stored in the file system. So here, every time you have a file, you should choose short text, because typically a file name is short text and not a long text. Okay. Now let's go back in form configurator, customers, picture. Okay, so even in this case, according to some heuristics, in particular, the field name here is pretty explicit regarding the content of the field. DaDaBIK automatically set this as image file, but of course you can do it by yourself in case this doesn't happen. And when you have an image file field, what happens in the application? All right, so I'm reloading the create form for projects, and well, the first thing you probably notice is that now we have our drop-down menu for status and payment status. That's correct, and the same would be for tasks. Okay. Customers, now customers also has the picture field. Okay, so let's create a new customer, Bob, address street A and city Roma. Okay, picture. So here we can choose the file. All right, file uploaded and save. Okay, so as you can see, we have added a picture field. Good, let's move on. Next thing I want to show you is how to combine two tables in a master detail form. In this example here, I would like to have for each project a list of the tasks related to this project. All right, how can we do that? Well, it's very easy. We can use again master detail forms. From form configurator, we select projects. We stay on ID, the primary key of the table, and here we add a subform. So here we want to attach the table tasks. So the items table name will be tasks, and we have to choose here the foreign key. So foreign key here, you don't have to take it literally. If you know relational database terminology, here foreign key just means the field in the items table, so tasks, that refers to the master table, so project. So the way we have to link tasks to projects is through the ID project field we have in tasks. So this is our foreign key, and save. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to our application. Here we go. So for this project, website redesign, here, as you can see, we have all the tasks related to that project. Just one for the moment, by the way, but obviously you can have more than one. And you can add many items table if you want, not only one. In this case, we don't need additional items table, but you can do it. And you can do the same in other parts of this application. For example, you can do the same on customers if you want to see for each customer all the projects related to that customer. Okay? So master detail views are useful for two reasons. First of all, it's nice to see when you are looking to a project, to see all the related tasks, right? But also, when you add a new task, you can do it from here, from a specific project. So if I create a new item here, the project is automatically selected because it was the project we were looking at, basically. Okay? All right, let's move on and let's discuss a very powerful feature, formula fields. What I want to do, since for project and we have several, we can have several tasks, and for each task we have the number of hours spent in that specific working on that specific task. We want to have in project a field that we can call, for example, hours, basically. So hours, integer, nullable yes, and here automatically we want DaDaBIK to compute the total number of hours spent working on that project according to the hours of each task. All right, how can we do that? We use formula fields. In projects we select hours and we say that this is a formula field. Okay, so here in the formula field you can use math operators and you can refer to the value that other fields in this table have. Let me give you a very, very simple example. Let's say that this is not hours. Let's say that we have a table products with 3 fields: price, discount, and final price. And we want the final price to be price minus the discount formula field. What you can do is this. Between curly brackets, you write the name of the field, price, then minus, again, between curly brackets, the name of the discount field that, let's assume, is discount. Okay, this would be a very, very simple formula field. In our case, things are a little bit more complex because we need to compute hours according to potentially several rows we have in another table, the table tasks. But the good news is that not only with curly brackets you can refer to the fields you have in this table, but also to fields that you have in other tables, assuming that these other tables are linked in some way to this one. How? Well, using a lookup field, for example, okay, or using the master detail view. So, for example, the tasks table, in our case, is linked to the projects table because of the master details view. So we can refer to fields we have in the tasks table here in this formula. And in particular, we will do something like sum and then tasks dot hours real. Okay, what we are doing here? Well, sum is an operator that we can use to, compute a value aggregating several records. Obviously, you can find all the operators and more details about the syntax you can use in formula fields in the documentation and also here, okay, in the inline help. But let's try to explain this particular case. So first of all, every time you need to refer to a field that you have in the current table, in this case projects, you just need to put in curly brackets the field name. In case you need to refer to a field that is not in the current table, then you have to specify the table name as well. So in this case, tasks table name dot field name. Okay, since tasks is in master detail view with projects, only the records for each project, only the tasks records related to that project will be used in this formula, and everything is done, automatically. All you have to do is providing this formula. Okay, so let's save and see if this is going to work as expected. So projects, at the moment our project has number of hours empty because the only task related to the project has number of hours empty. But let's try to modify this. Hours real 15. All right, now as you can see, there is again a formula field, a calculated field, something that we cannot edit as a final user, is computed according to what we have in the related tasks. Okay, so for example, let's add another task status completed, due date some random. Okay, save. Okay, as you can see now, the hours of this project is the sum of the hours we have in the two tasks. It's important to highlight two things. The first one, this automatic update on a formula field based on tables which are linked in a master detail view only works if you actually work on this master detail view. So if you work on tasks, at least in the current version of DaDaBIK, maybe it's going to change in the future, but at the moment, if you work on tasks outside the master detail view, this automatic update won't work. Okay. Well, normally when you add a table like this, like tasks as a detail table for project as master, you don't want to have the table also here in the menu, accessible from here. And maybe later I show you how to remove this. So it's not a big deal, the fact that it's only working on master detail, because that's the way you are supposed to use it. Okay. And the other thing is important to notice is that if you have an already existing database and you add a formula field, the values for these formula fields are not automatically updated at the moment when you create the field, right? In order to do that, you have to open a record and save it, or save or delete or create a related records in a linked table. Okay, it's not, let's say you have 100 projects here and you add the formula we just added. Those for those 100 existing records, the value will not be updated automatically when you create the field. Only if you interact with the records, this is going to happen. Okay, and this was the formula field. Now, next thing is the layout. I want to talk about layout and anything related to the design of the application. So we have a tab layout here that is obviously related to this topic. I won't show you everything, just a few basic, the most important things. One important thing is that you can change the logo of your application. By default, the logo is the DaDaBIK logo, but you may want to add your own logo for the application. So you can just upload the logo from here. And I have created a very simple logo for this application. So let me upload it. Okay, and save. And here we go. So let's say that our company name is Code Crafters, and this particular application is called Task Flow. Okay, and this is the logo. Then you can change the title, you can change the font, you can select a theme, so a combination of colors, or you can also write, edit, set your own colors if you want. In this case, I choose this theme that I like. So let me see. Okay, this is our theme after selection. Then what else? Custom CSS. This is a section of the layout tab that allows you very, granular customization of your styles. Basically, if you know some CSS, you can actually write here your CSS, your custom CSS, and everything you write here will be applied to your application. Let's take, for example, the example we have here in the documentation. So this means btn is the class for these standard buttons. So for these buttons, we want to remove these rounded corners, and we just want squared buttons. Okay. Okay, so save, and here we go, square buttons. Let's do something more. Let's say that we want to change in particular this button, the delete all button. Let me tell you that almost any element in a DaDaBIK application has an ID. You can just take the ID and use it in your own custom CSS. For example, here, if I open the browser console and I select this button, you can see the name of the button, that is delete_all_btn. That's the name of the button. And what I can do is here, I can do something like delete, all btn. For example, let's say that I want the background color for this button instead of being red, black. Okay, background color black. And save. Here we go. Okay, so this is very powerful. Let's remove the CSS here. Other layout related things you can do on the forms. For example, customers. So let's say that, for example, you want to create blocks on your forms. For example, here you want to create here after name, you want to create a block called contact information with a title on the top of it. You can do that here, form configurator, and then customers, and then address. So before this field, we want to add a so-called separator, contact info. And we want to do it for all the forms: insert form, search form, details page, and edit form. Here you can already see the preview, and here we go. Other things you can do, again, from the form configurator is you can move around fields. For example, you can put address, and city on the same row. That's one thing you can do. Another thing I want to mention is other two things. Let me look at my notes. Data grid templates and layout hooks. So for data grid templates, I will just mention them without going into details. Basically, when you are in the results grid page, like in this case, by default DaDaBIK creates literally a grid, right? That is an HTML table, very simple. So rows and columns. Each row is a record, each column is a field, right? But you can propose, you can set your own HTML template. So basically you can provide a template for each record, so you can basically change completely this part of the application layout. And the very last thing I want to mention is related to layout hooks. Basically, you have many layout hooks in a DaDaBIK application, which are specific parts of the application where you can add your own HTML, JavaScript, or PHP code. So for example, one layout hook is here. So if you want, you can add here some code, even just some text. If you want to add some explanation text after customers, you can do it. Okay, this is not something we will cover in this tutorial, but I just wanted to let you know that you can do it. And I would say that's it for the layout part. The next thing I want to discuss, the next two things are views and probably permissions. Before continuing, if you are enjoying this video, one thing you can do obviously is to like the video, and if you want to see other videos where we create applications in a no code way, so without any coding, like in this case, and in many other cases, because I've already published many other applications created using this approach. Well, if you want to see more of them, you can, I suggest you to subscribe the channel and to hit the notification bell. And if you have suggestions for the next application you would like to see developed by me on this platform, just let me know, adding a comment or sending your feedback on dadabik.com. All right, so let's continue with views. Okay, let me create another project first. This is useful for showing you how views work. So create new, name test, value 20, start date, I don't know, status not started, and the payment status pending, customer Apple, and that's it. Okay, so now we have two projects. One is in progress and the other is not started. But let's think about having tens or hundreds of projects, and let's say that we want to have as a quick overview here in our menu the list of in progress projects. Okay, obviously we can get that list by advanced search and then status in progress. All right, but let's say that we don't want to search all the time for getting this information. We want to have that information always available in the left menu. So what we can do is we can use views. We learned how to use tables. A view is, think about it as a virtual table based on a real table. So for example, we can create a view on the top, let's say, of the table projects, and we can call it ongoing projects and here we have to use SQL to define the view, to define the data of the table projects we want to use. Let me write here the expression, and then I will discuss it. Select from projects where status equal to in progress. So here we are saying we want to select everything, and with everything here asterisk I mean all the columns from the table projects, but only the records where the status is in progress. Unique field name, which field we will use from the table projects as unique field name. So the field that will identify each ongoing in progress project. We will use ID, right? Because ID was the primary key of projects and can also be the unique field for ongoing projects, obviously. So create view. We get an error. Why? Oh, okay, got it. So project was in capital letters. The P was in capital letter. Good. So ongoing project has been created, and here, when you click here, so as you can see, we have only the only project that at the moment is in progress. So this is a view. A view in DaDaBIK can be configured in terms of form configurator and in terms of permissions, and we are going to see permissions in a minute, as other tables, okay, despite is a view. So the content, just to clarify, I'm simplifying a little bit from the database point of view how a view works, but remember that a view is dynamically created according to your definition, which means that every time you access a view, you're actually accessing the table used to create the view. So when you change something in the original table, the table projects, this is automatically reflected in the view. So if, for example, in project here, I change the value from 50,000 to 40,000 and save, this is, reflected here. Okay. So now permissions. Well, in general, it's better to introduce the users and groups. Okay. We already said that by default we had two users, root and another user we deleted. Root is belonging to the admin group. By default there are two groups, admin and the default group. We delete the default group as well because we want to create our own groups. So the group admin will stay here, so we need it, and typically users belonging to this group can do everything in the application plus two additional things they can only do. So only only the users belonging to this group can do. The first is they can manage other users and groups. And the second is that they can edit the application. If you don't belong to the admin group, you cannot even see this button. All right. Okay, so we'll keep the admin group and we'll create other two groups, I would say. The first one is project managers. And the second one is employees. The idea is that project managers can do everything. So they can create projects, they can delete projects, they can add customers, well, everything. So basically they can do what admins can do, but still they cannot access this admin section with user and groups, and they cannot edit the application. Employees instead will have only the well, they can read everything, let's say, but they can only edit tasks, because project managers will assign tasks to the employees, and each employee can work on the tasks, for example, to change the status and the hours they worked on the tasks. Okay, so to do that we have to use permissions. So let's see the permissions tab. So here you can literally tune your application in terms of permissions. So for each table and for each group, you can set what the users belonging to that group can do on that table. So by default, since we have just created these two groups, project managers and employees, their permissions on all the tables are set to no. So what we can do, we can the easiest thing we can do is to copy the permission from the table admin to the table project managers for all tables and custom pages. If we do this, users belonging to the project managers group will get all the permissions that the admin group has, at least at the moment. I mean, when you copy the permissions, you copy the permissions in this moment. This doesn't mean that later the two groups cannot have different permissions, right? So copy. Okay, good. So if we go back here, if we come back here and we select project managers, we will see that the permissions are the same the admin group has. So they can read records from the customers table, they can delete, they can edit, they can create, they can see the details page, and they can also export to CSV. Remember that even if we copied from the admin group to the project managers group, there are two additional permissions we mentioned before that are never copied. So the possibility to work on users and groups, basically this menu, and the possibility to edit the application. Okay, all right. So project managers are fine. What about, well, this is customers, but you will see the same on other tables and views, okay? What about employees? We said that we want employees to be able to read everything, but we want them to only modify what we said. Let's say project, we said tasks, but which fields? And I'm saying which fields because the way you can set up permissions is very granular. So you may say employees can modify records from the table tasks, but only the hours real. Okay, only one field, for example. You can do that. In this case, probably again the easiest way, well, the fastest way is to copy permissions from another group and then remove the permissions that are not needed. Obviously, you can also change and set the permissions manually here for each table and for the group employees, but it would be slower. I would say slower but safer, because when you copy, like we are doing here, like we are doing now, from project managers to employees for everything, okay, now in this precise moment, employees have the same permission as the project managers, which is maybe something you don't want to have, even if it is, you know, temporary, but in our case there's no side effect, because we don't have any users yet belonging to the employees group. Okay, so employees, customers, yes, and so on and so forth, and customer. We have yes for all the operations, but we want to change it, and we want to leave only read permission. So let's say no for all, and yes to read, and to details. Okay, and save. The same for well, I will talk about this later. Let me talk about ongoing project, and this is the same, so only read and details. Projects, only read and details. And tasks, read, details, and edit. Save. Table level permissions. Now we move to field level permissions, because we don't want to leave all the fields editable, but we want to make editable for employees only, we said, the hours real. Okay, here we go. And that's it. That's it for the moment. So now we need to add some users belonging to each of the groups to see if everything is working as expected. So we will log in as a project manager, we log in as an employee, and we will see that the application will change according to that, basically. So let me do a quick test. We add a new user, Alice, main group employees, password, Force password change, no, and two-factor authentication, no, because this is just a test. Okay. Log out. Alice. Okay, this is still our application, but you can already see two differences. One, there's no the admin section here is missing, and also we don't have the edit this app button. And also, if you look at the data, we can see the data, but we cannot delete, we cannot create, we cannot edit the data, except from tasks, right? For tasks, we can change the hours real. This is not very nice, you know, we only see one field, but we can also see the other fields in the form and set them as disabled. So you will see, well, employees will see them in the edit form, but disabled. Okay. All right. Well, I will tell you how to do it in a second. Let me go back to my root. Permission, task, employees. Instead of having everything set to no, disabled, we can enable, and then so this means the field is available in the edit form for employees, but the field itself is disabled. So employees will see the data, but they cannot modify the value. All right. So now there is a big thing we have to discuss, because employees at the moment is but a table where we have our employees, and this table interacts with the tasks because we assign tasks to employees, but employees is also a user group, right? Because employees need to access our application. So this could be a bit confusing, and we can manage these kind of situations that can happen in two ways. The way I will use in this tutorial is the following. Basically, we don't need the table employees. Instead of having a table employees, we will use just users. Not all the users, but the users belonging to the employees group. How? Well, that's very easy. Again, we can use views. So let's move to data and views. So here, let me check. Okay, the ID group of the group called employees is 4. Why I'm telling you that? You will see that in a moment. I'm creating a view called employees. Let's call it employees _2, just because I want to keep for a while the table employees in our application. So here we need to select records from the users table. The users table is not something we we explicitly created. It's created automatically by DaDaBIK, and if you use the blank demo, the users table is called DaDaBIK 1 users. Okay, that's the name of the table. And this time we don't need to select all the columns, so with asterisks as we did before, but only some fields. And in particular, ID user, first name user, last name user, and email user. From DaDaBIK1 users, where ID group is equal to 4. And once again, here the unique key is ID user. So we are basically taking a slice of the users table where we are selecting only the rows where the ID group is 4 and only these columns: ID, first name, last name, and email. Okay, create. Good. We have a table employees too, sorry, a view employees too. Let's see here. All right. Okay, first name, last name, and email are empty, probably because we didn't correct. We didn't set first, last name and an email for Alice. So Alice White. Okay. Now we have it. I'm thinking that probably we should have selected as column not only these 4 columns but also the username of the employee. Maybe it might be useful. I don't know at this point, but let's consider that as an option. Okay, so now we have to modify our form configurator, and in particular the tasks table, because the ID employee, that is a lookup field, do you remember, doesn't need to take the values from the employees table, but from the employees to view. And the ID user is the primary key field, and first name plus last name will be the linked field. Only Alice White, obviously, at least for the moment. Okay, so that's it. Now we have these employees to view that just take data from the users table. So every time a new employee is added to the users table, obviously belonging to the employees group, you will see the employee here. So if you want now, I will take it for a while just to be sure, but we can already delete this table. Let me show now one additional very powerful feature related to permissions that is called ownership permissions. So to show that, I need to add at least another employee. So create new, username Bob, Bob Black, email, employees, and password. Okay, now we have 2 employees, right? So now let's create another table. Let's say that we want to be able to add notes as well. So for each project, employees can add notes, things they want to, take note about that could be useful for them and for other employees. But we want to set the application in a way that employees can add notes, and each of the employees can only delete and edit their own notes. So if Alice writes a note, Bob can read that note, but he cannot modify it. How can we do that? So first, well, obviously we need to create the table first. So notes, and let's say we just have well, something like text. This contains the actual note with long text. Then date, well, date time of the note, date and time, the ID of the project, ID project, because each node is related to project. And finally, and this is very important, username, or we can call it creator short text. This is going to contain the name of the user who created the node. Okay, and this is going to be filled automatically, and I'll tell you how. Save changes. Let's see. Okay, we have a notes table and everything seems fine, but in form configurator, notes, notes, creator, this is as field type ID user. ID user means fill, during creation, fill the value, fill this field with the username of the current user. Okay, save. Permissions, it makes sense to remove from notes. Let's do it only for employees. The creator from the create form. We don't want this field in the create form because it's going to be automatically set, and also in the edit form must be disabled. Okay, all right. And the very last thing we want to do in form configurator is well, let me do some other, let me think, no, that's fine. In project ID, we add an additional items table. That is the nodes table. The nodes table that again has as foreign key ID project. Okay. All right. Let's see projects. All right. Tasks and nodes. Now, let me log out and log in as Alice. Project, website redesign. We create a node, test, date, time, whatever. Well, date time could have been an insert date time. This, as you know, automatically automatically set the current date and time, and save. Okay, we have a node related to this project, and the creator is Alice. Alice can delete the node, and she can also edit the node test2. Okay. All right. Let me now log out and log in as Bob. Sorry, I forget something. in the permissions. Notes, employees. Okay, we didn't set the permissions for employees and notes, and we have yes for all the operations at the moment, but we can remove the read permission, and I will tell you why in a second. And the reason is that since notes is in a master detail relationship with projects, and since employees can read projects, they can only read the related nodes. Okay, So you can leave it to yes if you want to see notes also here in the left menu. Otherwise, if you want to see notes only in the master detail view, you can let it no. Create yes, details whatever no, for the same reason, but we already explained why. CSV no, let's say. Delete and edit, and we can set it as my. My means that each employee can only delete and edit their own notes, and save. Okay. Now log out and log in as Bob. Projects. Okay, I see the note. I see the note comes from Alice. If I try to delete the note, I get an error message. If I try to edit the note, I don't have the authorization to modify this item. Okay, so the ownership permission. Since Alice created that record, Bob can, according to the permissions we set, can see the record but not delete and edit the record itself. That's it about permissions, at least what I wanted to show you. Next and probably last thing we will see is related to the creation of our dashboards. So charts generation basically, and creation of a dashboard embedding several charts and reports. But before continuing, I would like to add some data, a good set of fake data, because otherwise it would be very difficult to show meaningful charts. Okay, but I will do it offline, so see you in a second. All right, so let's create our dashboard. What I want to see here is a summary of some key information that are useful basically to see how things are going. So for example, I would like to see a chart showing for each week the number of projects we started, so to see the trend. Then I want to see the number of projects, other two charts, the number of projects. Let me take notes. Charts, number of projects started by week, number of projects by status, so completed, not started, in progress, number of projects by payment status, and that's it. And then I also want to have on my dashboard, together with those charts, also the ongoing projects. Okay, just to have everything that I think is important on one page. So let's see how to generate these charts first. So projects, first thing we want to see is the number of projects started by in each week. So we click on generate chart. We can generate a chart using the simple report feature, or we can use SQL. We stay with the simple report. And we want a bar chart. We want to aggregate data by start date, and in particular by week. and we want to see the count, so the number of projects created, started. Okay, and this is our bar chart. So this is something we can do, you know, whenever we want, whenever we need. But if you want to embed this chart in a page, in our case, in our dashboard, you have to click here, Show Embed Code, and copy this code provided by DaDaBIK. Okay, I've copied this code. Now let's go back to the admin area, pages, custom pages, and this is our dashboard. Remember that we can see the HTML, the content related to the dashboard by clicking here. And this is, you know, just what we currently see here. That is the default homepage that DaDaBIK created. We can remove everything, basically. Okay. And, you know, we can write our content here. We can use this tool to format the layout of our dashboard. And when we need to paste here, because this is the way we will embed our charts in our dashboard, when we need to paste the code we just copied here, remember, we need to open the source code of the page. Okay, so if I paste the code here, the one I copied before, and save, here we go. This is our chart. So save, dashboard, and this is our chart. It's important to notice that this is not just a picture, it's a chart that every time you open the page is recomputed and generated. All right, so we can do the same for all the other charts and reports we want to add to the dashboard, and then we can create, arrange our charts and reports in the dashboard using HTML. But a very easy thing you can do is using the dashboard template that you find here. So basically, if I click here, what I get is a dashboard, a classic dashboard template with some nice components already available, and you just need to, you know, edit the template, removing what you don't need and embedding the charts and reports you actually need. Okay, so let's, you know, change the title. Well, the title is fine, my dashboard. This is, you know, this is not useful for us. This is not useful because you know, we need these three charts, and these are already here, starting project by week, project by status, and projects by payment, but this is just a template, and we remove this. We remove this. Okay. We remove this. All right. Okay. So it's important to understand that this is just a template, and these are just pictures, which is not what we want. We need to replace this with our own charts. Okay. So once again, we can. What we can do is, well, we can save, and then source code. What we can do here is we can paste this is the first chart. I'm going to paste the code for all the charts and reports, and then I will just move the charts into our dashboard grid. Okay, so project again, generate chart. Maybe we want let me do it again, the same chart, but this time I want to change the height, because that was probably too tall for our grid. So count and generate chart. Okay, this is better. Show embed code. Okay, so this is the old version. I remove this, and here we go. Then I want a pie chart by status. Okay, completed and in progress. 16 and 4. Well, it's better. Maybe this is better. Yeah. Okay. And this is the second one. And then number of projects by payment status. So, well, this time I use a pie chart, payment status. Okay. 4 paid, 10 pending, 6 partial, again, at the moment. And copy and paste. And then we said we also want the ongoing projects always available. So in this case, we just need to click on ongoing project, show embed code. That's it. Okay. And save. So as you can see, we have all the charts and reports here. We just need to, delete the charts from here. Those again were just pictures. So now this is the real content we need. And save. Okay, very nice. So this is our dashboard. Is good looking, is responsive. So if I let me try to, as you can see, everything is adjusted. If you reduce the screen size. And another important thing to notice is that again, these charts and reports are recomputed every time you open the page. So for example, at the moment we have 16 completed project and 4 in progress project. So projects, let's change these to in progress. And as you can see, we have different values now. Well, by the way, I didn't tell you what I added in terms of records. As you can see, we have now 20 projects. Each project has some tasks and potentially some notes. We have 5 customers. We have some ongoing projects and the employees. All right. And by the way, I removed the employees table and I renamed the employees to view in the menu as page name as employees. So everything looks fine now. Okay, so I think at least the first version of our application is here, is working. So let me discuss the next step. So at the moment, again, the application is temporarily hosted for free on DaDaBIK.com, but at some point it will be deleted. So if you want to continue using your application and publish the application somewhere, you have to get a DaDaBIK license. Once you get a DaDaBIK license, you can deploy this application basically wherever you want. It's a PHP application. You can publish your application using your favorite hosting service, or even on your laptop, your intranet server, again, wherever you want. Not only that, you can also unlock some locked features when you publish and deploy the app from here, and you can start using low-code tools as well. So far we have used only the no-code features of DaDaBIK, but once you deploy somewhere your application, you can start using the low-code features as well. For example, you can use custom buttons, you can use validation functions, you can use operational hooks. Let me tell you something about these features. Custom buttons, it means that you can literally add buttons, custom buttons in your application, and use the buttons to execute your own custom PHP and JavaScript code. Custom validation functions, you can create your own logic to validate data when user insert data in your system. Operational hooks, you can execute particular actions, particular custom code when some events occur. Let me give you an example related to this particular application. Let's say that, for example, you want to send an email to the project manager if an employee is registering a number of hours that is higher than a certain threshold. Well, you can do that using operational hooks. To get a DaDaBIK license, you have basically two options. The first one, you can start a monthly subscription. The first 30 days are free, and you can cancel anytime, even before, even during the free trial. The other option, if you prefer a lifetime license, so you pay once and you use forever, is the lifetime license. So if you click here, you will get the pricing options for lifetime licenses. I would say that's it for today, and see you next time. Ciao.